brand new season, extra backing from your title sponsors, new sponsors as well, and a nice mix of the new and the old blood.
Yes, Peter, I think so. We've got a number of new youngsters coming through, which are starting at this race, which is the legacy of the promotional effort that Sasol and Ford have put in together, the association, in attracting youngsters to the formula. We've got new sponsors coming in, which is always good to have as many sponsors as possible. So yeah, I think it's a very good start to the season, one of our best in many years, a good field of cars, and I think we're in for a good race and a good season.
And the big attraction this year, the winner has the opportunity of racing in the British Formula Ford Festival. 5 very tough races in the UK at the end of the year.
Yes, that's a carrot second to none. No other formula in this country can offer that at the moment. Obviously, any aspiring youngster wants to go race overseas and see how good they really are. So by offering that as an incentive, we have got the youngsters involved, and we will get even more in the future.
22 cars on the grid at a scorching Killarney. The times very close at the top of the table, and the man on pole, first time in Formula Ford, last year's Delta Part Sports 2000 winner, Grant Orbell.
Wheel-to-wheel racing, a lot different to what you were doing last year. You've got Mark Lead in last year's championship winning car behind you. Johan Fourie was very quick, and Ian Shrosby.
Well, I've been racing GTIs last year, actually the year before last. I've done a bit of open wheel racing, so it's not a totally new experience, but it's quite a challenge, you know. Got to be a little bit more wide awake.
Orbell slightly slow out of the blocks, and Mark Lead capitalizes. The rest of the field saw through towards the tricky continental left-hander. The rest of the field holds stations in Class A and Class B. Gary Mortimer heads the field. One of the top men in 1995 in Class B, Graham Hepburn, has moved up to Class A, and he already pressurizing the top 3. A mini dust storm as they go through after oil laid down in an earlier race, but still up front it's Mark Lead holding stations. Car number 39 is Graham Coleman, applying pressure to young Toby Scheckter, the son of former world champion in Formula One, Jody Scheckter. Coming up to Stanley for the first time, Lead out front. Behind him, it's Orbell. Lots of pressure, though, coming from Fourie and Shrosby. And the battle continues between Coleman and Toby Scheckter. The end of the day for first-time rider Brian Curtis. Last year, he a top competitor in karting. A disappointing start to the season. This time around, it's Orbell going a bit sideways, and then it all happens. Shrosby hit from behind by Johan Fourie in the Pretoria-based car. Shrosby attempts to rejoin the action. Unfortunately, though, there's too much dented bodywork up front of the car, and he's forced to retire, while Fourie decides all over for this particular race anyway. That incident gives Orbell a bit of breathing space, and he charges hard in an attempt to get ahead of Mark Lead. Further down the field, Levy and Andrew Grace, both Cape Townians, are having a true tussle. That comes to a head going into Stanek on lap 3 of the race. It's Levy trying to find the inside, Grace on the outside, and it all happens in a rather unfortunate manner. Both of them go off farming into the sea sand, ending their particular challenge in race 1. Lead's car is perfectly tuned, building up a few car lengths lead over Grant Orbell, and behind them it's Grant Simpson in the Cape Town Ray, followed by Graham Coleman in very hot pursuit, with Mark Eliasov not far behind. While the tensions were still running high in Stanek, the battle for third took on enormous proportions. Mark Eliasov spinning off and a few others in Conti Corner. So the battle for third place dwindles. Up front, Mark Lead has it all his own way, going towards the checkered flag, with Grant Orbell not too far behind, and he's followed by one of the Class B backmarkers. A satisfying win for Mark Lead.
It was very tough in practice, first of all. The time practice was extremely close. After that, in the race, I thought I'd get a good start. I did get a good start, and luckily for me, Orbell and a few of the others tangled and had a bit of an off, which gave me a break, and I just kept the distance.
Results of race 1, Lead followed by Orbell. Simpson managed third, Graham Hepburn a very fine fourth, with Graham Coleman coming in fifth, and Gary Mortimer a star effort in Class B. In the pre-race paddock before the second race, a number of those who went off in the first race are back on the grid, and all things are there for another pulsating wheel-to-wheel race. Gleed on pole, or Bell alongside him. The 5-second board goes down, and off they go down Goodyear towards Continental. Ian Shrosby, a victim of the first race incident, is hard charging from the back of the grid, with Grant Simpson holding stations behind the top two men, Gleed and Grant Orbell. This time around, it's a lot closer up front. Gleed leads, but only marginally from Orbell. Behind him, it's Graham Hepburn moving up, with Simpson behind him, then Coleman, Eliasov, and that man, Shrosby. Toby Schechter's doing very well in his first outing. He's lying 6th at this particular stage of the race. A good omen for the rest of the season in the brand new Swift, imported just a few weeks ago from England. A few laps into the race, and Shrosby has already made up a lot of ground, now applying a lot of pressure on the back wheels of Grant Simpson. Ahead of him, it's Graham Hepburn, once again racing in fine style. Eliasov follows, with Coleman and Schechter making up the rest of the top 7. And that behind them, Armian Levy, his first time in Class A in the top 10. Shrosby looking for a way through and decides that the wall is the best place to be as he makes a bold attempt to get around Simpson. Orbell is using the inside line to good advantage, pushing his nose ahead of Gleed. Gleed, however, is not intent on giving up the battle, and he dives for the inside going into Castrol. And then it all happens. The two cars touch, with Gleed semi-cartwheeling, both cars ending up in the sand, allowing the top runners to run through ahead of them. Orbell rejoins, with Levy going ahead of him and Toby Schechter. Shrosby in the well-prepared Reynard has taken his chance well. He's now ahead, followed by Graham Hepburn, with Grant Simpson just behind him. Graham Coleman and Mark Eliasov are not far off the fronts. A big battle now ensuing. Simpson tries to go on the outside of Hepburn, but it's not to be. Eliasov spins out his second time on the day. As Shrosby heads towards the checkered flag, his first win in Class A, the battle between Simpson and Hepburn is going all the way to the line.
I would imagine you couldn't believe your eyes when you saw the top two tangle in this last race.
Yes, Peter, it was a nice sight for me, I must say. I know what it felt like after being taken out in the first heat. But yeah, it was great. Great to have my first win. It was difficult. The weekend we've had a lot of trials and tribulations. But at the end of the day, no matter what trouble you have before to win, it's always great.
Hepburn won the battle for second, followed by Simpson, Levy and Coleman also in the points, with Dennis Montgomery from KwaZulu-Natal a fine finish in Class B.